So here we go. Uh, okay, it's Jack here, Radical Jack. 6 days to go. The heart fire going. Feeling quite excited. Also a little bit like, wow, this is really happening because this is not the first time I've attempted a kind of a long fast. You know, like I said before, watching myself. It's quite interesting watching yourself on the camera as well. And going through the whole 55 minutes that I put up as an intro. This will be like a kind of 6 days countdown. And a lot of things have happened in the last couple of days. As I said before, one thing that I've noticed is even 10 days of a fast, the clarity of mind, the vocabulary, the access to vocabulary it's like it goes up like 100%. It's like we have this dictionary inside us already, words we perhaps don't use. I noticed that I become more comical. I get quite funny, and there's a period of time when you fucking talk the ears off a donkey. And some of you might have met me in those moments in the past, where I might have been on the hill a week or two, or no contact whatsoever, in the woods, and got quite high off nature, and then come back in, and it's like, whoa, you've got an uncontrollable kind of rant, going, beneficial to some people, and perhaps not to some, but that does calm itself. I've noticed through that experience where I may have been on the right path for 6 months or 9 months even, doing a lot of exercise, swimming in the sea, climbing mountains, those kind of things. Eventually, my experience of the 88 days in the Canaries was to climb this mountain every day. And I'll tell you about that story because the beginning of that story is pretty epic, man. Pretty magical and epic and crazy at the same time. But it lasted 88 days. I never missed a day. I climbed that mountain every day to catch the sun go down. And what you notice at first, the first few days, maybe even week or two, the internal dialogue. It's like, shut the fuck up, man. Like, you're in your mind and you're living out dramas of something that might happen a year ago or 10 years ago, and almost like an uncontrollable kind of visual in your head of this something that may or may not happen, and that's interesting to watch as you get more and more quiet, because I never met one person on the path during those 88 days. There was never anybody up there for the sunset, and there was never anybody on the path. And interesting enough, I had to walk through the town's dump, to get to this unique climb. It was a crater, like a horseshoe, if you like. You climb up one side over the ridge and then down the other side type thing. And it was a round trip. I did a similar thing, which was part of the 88 days. I would go down to the beach every morning and bathe and be present for the sunrise. So it was a sunset sunrise kind of cyclical thing, Very magical it was, But it is amazing when I've noticed this in a few times when the internal dialogue stops and there's peace. Wow, some things you wouldn't believe. There's this wild squirrel I remember, and they're not like the squirrels in England or Ireland or the West or Europe or whatever. They're really skinny. There's no vegetation hardly, in the Canaries, especially Fuerteventura, and they get quite lean, and this one was a mother. You could see all the nipples, and And I saw it, you know, and I stopped. I was at peace. I was, you know, it was when I noticed I was at peace and I'd stopped that internal dialogue completely. I think it was maybe 2 weeks in, and I had some seeds in my pocket, and I took them out, and it came to me and ate from my hand and climbed up on me. It was awesome, you know, and that is the result of that. That's the you know, the kind of thing, you know. We can all do that, you know. We can go to the jungle and put our hand on a wild cat, you know, if we've got that kind of energy, which generally speaking we don't. When we come up against a wild cat, yeah, we give off fear hormone, whatever they call it, just and they smell this, and yeah, they it's an interesting thing, isn't it? Like an interesting concept and idea as well, and something of interest in that way to master, because it's like, you know, it's connected to projection then as well, isn't it? Like in relation to, you know, we are creating our own script every step we take, you know, and a lot of this stuff that goes on in here, whether it be, you know, with friends or relationships, or, you know, things that you know, we see or perceive or wrongfully interpret, or, you know, there's so many different ways it comes to us, but like you know, often we have this choice. No, we ultimately have this choice, but often we make this wrong choice, and to react rather than sitting back and thinking. And so when the mind is quiet, what happens is something else. Something else happens. I found myself, you know, weeks into it, where creativity came through. You know, like I was writing scripts in my head, and it was harmonious. You know, I was doing stand up. I was doing all sorts of things. You know, and it became positive in opposition to negative. You know, so, you know, ultimately, like we are the choice makers. You know, in how we deal with things, and how we act. You know, how we you know, how we kind of deal with every single thing that comes at us, you know, and often enough we might call it in ourselves, you know. We call it in our dream time, or we call it in the subconscious or the conscious mind, and, you know, we literally like, oh please, you know, let me be more compassionate. I want to be more compassionate, and then you know, something happens. Your antenna goes, you send out this thought pattern, you know, where energy follows thought, and then down the road there's this opportunity to be compassionate, and you miss it. You miss the boat. Or you know, you call something else in, and you're like, why is this happening to me? You know, so, you know, to be a master of this mind, you know, and work, you know, in unison with the heart and the gut, you know, and so when we get these things right, we are, as I said before, what people term as like superhuman. But there's nothing superhuman about it, you know. It's just human. It's human. It's our birthright, or all of us, you know. It's obvious, you know. A really bad diet will, you know, put you in a very depressive state, you know, and then can lead to psychosis and schizophrenia and all sorts of illness. So we know this. So and this is what happened to me yesterday, you know, in relation to a little warning sign, you know, because a lot of the time, you know, we can do all this champion work, you know, like weeks, months, and you know, all the hard work is done to get us to a place where maintenance is easy, and that's all we got to do, is just keep maintaining that new way of being, breaking the conditions and the habit of how we once was. Difficult, like, you know, because you could just throw it all away just like that, you know. And I've done that so many times, you know, doing all that hard work, you know. It's just like, get to the top of the ladder, whoa man, it was just such hard work, you know, and then just like poof, one moment, throw it all away. So, you know, yesterday I went for a bath, a seaweed bath in Sligo. Some of you might have seen my post on Facebook. A spectacular place. So I had the seaweed bath, and I came out of there feeling like $1 million, you know. It was amazing. And I go straight in next door, having already asked the girls, you know, oh, is there any nice vegetarian, vegan places in Sligo, in the town, and I got the lure of the smell of chips and fish and chips, and in I go, and I really like my chips to be homemade, you know, and like 70% of these people, you ask, are they homemade chips? They're not. They're going to be like, they're not frozen. So they get away with it because it's like vacuum packed and they're not frozen, you know, someone's cut them and stuff, but they're never nice. And that's what they were. After I'd asked the guy, are they homemade chips? He said, yeah, they're homemade chips. But I found out they weren't. They didn't taste like they were. And, you know, it was kind of like interesting, you know, because again, there's two things happened there, you know. I had this intuition, you know, I already knew. You know, and that's the thing about, you know, when you're clear as well, your gut, you know, when you walk into a shop or a cafe or a restaurant, you know, and when you really balanced in yourself, you know when someone's lying, you never get that magnetism towards those kinds of places, because when you're centered, you are automatically, your antenna, your frequency, it's different. So you see the nice places and in the kosher places, and you know the I mean, in opposition to that, anyway, I suppose, you know. Okay, well, look, I got. It took me like 24 hours to feel okay. I had a sauna. I hadn't eaten all day. I'm slowly practicing my way up towards the 1 meal a day. And so I hadn't eaten. I'm in the sauna, and you know, I felt sick. I couldn't take the heat. You know, it was like it was the 24-hour thing with that fish and chips, you know, and that's the thing. What's going to happen for anybody, you know, who cleans themselves out? It becomes extremely difficult to put certain types of food back into your system, you know. You may get to a stage, you know, down the road where your immune system's so strong that you can, you know, have those kinds of things, but it takes a while, because when you're in that process of change, you know, and you know, elimination, you know, etc., it's it takes time, and you know, you can feel like you've set yourself back, you know, a long time, like, you know, having put all this hard work in. So anyway, so little warning signs for me, you know, in and around, like, okay, you know, I've got to be preparing for, you know, we say it's 88 days, and you know, what's going to be my diet? What am I going to, you know, am I going to continue this one day? This 1 hour, 2 hour a day, where I have a window for food, and the rest of the time it's just fast. Now there are people out there doing it, like Amon Ra. He's definitely someone to watch. He's been doing it for 16 years with his wife, and you know, the guy looks great, man. You know, but you know, he's got the science behind it. He's well educated, and you know, he knows what he's doing, and it's not for everybody, as he says. But you know, just remember, it's possible that we have been sold a lie, like the 3 meals a day. You know, break fast. You know. Where were we, like, with this, like, 100, 200, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, you know? I certainly have felt nothing but benefits from intermittent fasting, you know, so we're only going to be doing 15 minutes at a time, because it's easy to upload 15 minutes, and other than that, it's really difficult, so 6 days to go, and yeah, it's going to be really interesting. One thing that I've noticed in the past is like my eyes change, and the bags disappear. You know, my the whites of my eyes. You know, it's like the light comes back into my body when I change my diet and fast and stuff like that. So it's going to be really interesting to see this process. I have no idea what's going to come up. It's going to come up as it comes up. I've looked back on the podcast, and I watched myself, and I got this, you know. I don't know how many times I've said it, but I thought about it. I thought, well, I'll give it a positive slant. It's like, maybe that's the mantra, because we all know. You know, ultimately, we all know. We know what we're doing. We know. We don't need no doctor to tell us like what's what. You know, because we know. So blessed be 15 minutes.